You might have noticed a lot of regulatory updates coming out of India recently. On their own, they seem pretty disconnected, just routine administrative tweaks. But if you start to connect the dots, a much, much bigger picture starts to form. So today, we're going to piece this puzzle together because what it reveals is a blueprint for a massive economic overhaul.
So, let's just start with a question to get you thinking. What on earth could a simple screwdriver, a bureaucratic detail like a tax deadline, and a basic t-shirt possibly have in common? I know, it sounds like the setup for a really weird joke, but the answer is actually incredibly revealing.
And here it is. It turns out they are all individual threads in a much larger strategic plan. These are not random isolated policy changes. Nope, they are very calculated moves in a nationwide strategy to re-engineer the Indian economy, to make it simpler for businesses, stronger on the world stage, and famous for high-quality products. Okay, let's really dive into this. We'll start with the first, foundational pillar of this whole strategy, a massive, coordinated push to really supercharge India's export engine. Now, at the very heart of this push is something called the New Export Promotion Mission, or EPM. The best way to think about it is like a major spring cleaning of bureaucracy. Instead of exporters getting lost in a maze of different incentive programs, the EPM brings everything together into one simple digital platform. The goal is pretty straightforward. Make it way faster and way easier for businesses to get the support they need to sell to the rest of the world. What's really smart here is the two-pronged approach. This whole mission is built on two very clear pillars. The first one, Niryat Protsahan, is all about the money. It's the financial fuel, things like credit guarantees and insurance. The second one, Niryat Disha, is all about practical, real-world help. Funding for better logistics, help with branding, and giving businesses crucial intel on foreign markets. It's a real one-two punch of financial and practical support.
And just to show you how serious this is, the government has backed this mission with a 20,000 crore rupee credit guarantee scheme. I mean, that is a huge amount of cash designed specifically to get money flowing to exporters, especially the small and medium-sized businesses who, let's be honest, often have the hardest time getting financing.
And look, this isn't just theory. You can see it in action. Let's take the textile sector, which is absolutely critical. Exports have been holding steady. So to keep that momentum going, a whole bunch of support has been rolled out. They're extending export obligation periods, they're allowing duty-free cotton imports for a while, and key tax rebate schemes have been pushed out longer. Every single one of these moves directly cuts costs and makes Indian t-shirts and other textiles more competitive on the global market.
All right, let's move on to the second pillar, because exporting more stuff is really only half the battle. The other half is making sure the stuff you're exporting is top-notch, and this is all about raising the quality bar.
So remember the screwdrivers from the beginning? This is where they come back into the story. A new hand tools quality control order now says that a whole bunch of common tools, screwdrivers, pliers, hammers, you name it, have to meet specific Indian standards and carry the official BIS quality mark. Basically, this means no more cutting corners. Now, the government gets that this is a big shift, especially for smaller companies. So they're not just flipping a switch overnight. The rollout is staggered. Bigger companies have to comply by late 2026, but the small and micro enterprises get extra time, with deadlines going all the way into 2027. It's a pretty practical way to make sure everyone can get on board without getting crushed. When you put it all together, it points to one single clear ambition: to completely transform what the Made in India label means to the world. The goal is for that tag to be an undeniable symbol of world-class quality and reliability, whether it's on a simple hand tool or some high-tech piece of equipment. Okay, so we've got to push for more exports and higher quality. The third and final pillar is what ties it all together. It's about making the entire system simpler and just plain easier for businesses to work in. A perfect example of this is the government raising the financial limits for what counts as a small company by bumping the paid-up capital threshold up to 10 crore rupees and the turnover limit to 100 crore rupees. A whole lot more companies suddenly fit into this category. And what does that mean? It means they are free from a ton of complex paperwork and compliance costs. The impact of this is huge. With these new rules, a massive group of businesses can now spend way less time dealing with red tape and more time focusing on, actually growing their business and innovating. It's a really powerful way to ease the compliance burden across the whole economy. And this whole simplification idea is popping up everywhere. In banking, they've made it easier for families to access a loved one's funds.
In corporate finance, they're now requiring impartial outside experts to value company share schemes. And remember those tax deadlines? Yeah, they've been extended in certain cases, giving businesses a bit of breathing room. Now, a grand vision is one thing, but making it happen is something else entirely. It's really important to take a clear-eyed look at the potential challenges and, well, the hurdles that are definitely on the road ahead. So there are a few key risks. For one, a lot of the nitty-gritty details for these new programs still haven't been announced. Then there's the question of whether the country's testing labs can even handle all the new quality checks. Success also really depends on the central and state governments working together smoothly, which isn't always a given. And of course, you can't control the global economy. A slowdown could hurt export growth no matter what. Finally, that new digital platform for exporters, its success is a big unknown right now. So, when you step back and look at all of this, what's the one big takeaway? The crucial thing to understand is that this isn't just about tweaking the system here and there. This is a deliberate, multi-pronged, and deeply interconnected effort to fundamentally re-engineer the entire framework of India's economy. It all boils down to these three pillars we've just walked through. First, fueling the export engine to sell more to the world. Second, raising quality standards so that what you're selling is better. And third, simplifying the whole business environment to make it all happen more efficiently. You can see how each pillar really supports the other two. So, in the end, the blueprints are drawn. The plan for a massive economic transformation is on the table, and the ambition is crystal clear. But all of this leaves us with the one huge question that will define the next few years. Will the day-to-day execution on the ground, in the factories, at the ports, and in the government offices, actually match this grand vision? That's the billion-dollar question.